Hi everyone. I'm recording this video on the warrior poses warrior 1 and warrior 2, just to clarify a few things that I didn't think were quite clear enough on Sunday. So I will explain a few things again, and hopefully you can see my feet a little bit better in this video. So for warrior 1, I'm going to show you facing sideways to the camera and head on so you can see what's going on in the pose. I'll start by facing this side. So warrior 1, let's just bring our hands to our hips. We'll step 1 foot forward a little bit and 1 foot back. So it's not a huge step like in a big kind of lunge pose. It's a little bit shorter than that. It's just a comfortable distance. My hips and shoulders are square to the short edge of the mat, to the top edge of the mat. And then I just bend my front knee until the knee is just about stacked over the ankle. So you can see my shin bone is nice and vertical there. And my back leg is straight and strong. The back toes are pointing at an angle, not quite all the way to the top right corner of the mat, but maybe off to about 45 degrees. And then my feet are not in line like on a balance beam. There's a little bit of distance between, and you'll see that better when I face towards the camera. So once you have your feet and your knee nicely bent, everything where you want it in the lower body, then you just reach the arms up. The biceps just about frame the ears. Your gaze is straight forward. Your spine is tall and vertical. Your shoulders are stacked right over the hips. So we're not leaning forward here. We're not leaning back. We're just nice and vertical. The shoulders are pretty relaxed. So they're not reaching all the way up towards the sky. They're just kind of relaxed. And I'm driving actually down into the right heel. So the right leg, this back leg, is nice and strong. And that front knee stacked over ankle. So this is our warrior 1 from the side view. And then let's take that with me facing the camera so you can see about how far apart my feet are. So if I'm taking that step, I'll step back a little bit to make sure you can see both feet. And the back foot again, toes pointing off to about 45 degrees. Front knee stacked over the ankle. And you can see that my feet, the heels are not in the same line. There's a little space here between the tracks of my feet. And to make warrior 1 feel more comfortable in lots of people's bodies, to include my own, take your front foot even a little bit wider. That can help make this a more comfortable pose. And then your arms just reach up. So from the front view, you can see that there is some space between the feet. My hips, my shoulders are pretty square to the front. And then I'm just reaching up. So one last thing for warrior 1, and this will go for warrior 2 as well. Your stride, or the distance between the feet here, there's a little bit of variability. If I have a deeper stride, there's a little more intensity. If I have a shorter stride, there is less intensity. So you'll need to work to find where that feels best in your body. So there is some variability there. If you have a knee injury, you'll also probably want to shorten your stride and widen the stride. So that's our warrior 1. Let's move to warrior 2. So again, I'll just start with my hands on my hips and I'll step my feet into a nice wide stance or stride. And my spine is still stacked nice and vertically. I'll reach the arms out to the side in a capital T shape. So if I think about how wide I want my feet to be, think about drawing a straight line from the wrists straight down to the earth, and your ankles or feet should be just about below the wrists. So I could actually go a little bit wider here. From there, so from here, both my feet are parallel The toes are pointing to the long edge of my mat. So to take the warrior two position, my back foot will stay right where it is. The front toes will point directly towards the short edge of the top of my mat. And then I'll bend the knee until the knee is just about stacked over the ankle and that shin bone is pretty vertical. So this is about where you want to be for warrior two. And just like in warrior one, this back leg stays engaged and strong too. I'm going to engage my quads here. I'm going to press firmly down and back into the outside edge of the back heel. And that foot is still parallel to the short edge of the mat. Your gaze goes right over your front fingers. And spine is nice and vertical here too. So we have a tendency sometimes to think if we're leaning forward like this, that we're a little more strongly into the pose. But you really want to be back here where your spine is nice and vertical. The shoulders are relaxed. There's a little bit of give into the arms. And that's our warrior two pose. Another thing to look for in warrior two, the front knee sometimes wants to just fall slightly inward towards the middle of the mat. You want to resist that and press that front knee wide towards the pinky edge of the foot. Another misalignment we'll find in warrior two is that front knee coming really far forward. I'll have to shorten my stride a little bit. The front knee sometimes comes forward of the front ankle, and we really don't want that. It's a lot more stable to have joints stacked. So that knee will be stacked right over the ankle. So again here, a longer stride or stance equals more intensity in the pose, and a shorter stride or stance equals less intensity. So you have some sense of control with that. So to take our warrior two to the other side, we can just straighten the front knee, turn the toes, so you come back to that wide leg stance, the ankles just about underneath the wrists, and then we'll turn the other toes now towards the short edge of the mat and bend into that knee. So my upper body stays largely the same. The gaze goes right over the middle fingers. My spine is tall and vertical. And the front knee is stacked over ankle. The back leg is actively engaged, pressing down and back into that foot. So I'll just straighten, I'll heel toe my feet together a little bit. So that's your warrior one and your warrior two.